Okay, so this next video we're going to discuss training and how to learn how to fly these things. If you hold a just hold the free ones that come with the sim, which is I believe the P51 and the SU25, you'll find that the fidelity is still pretty impressive, but significantly less than what you might find in the payware ones. So it's kind of called DCS World because you can buy a whole range of different third-party aircraft from a lot of third-party developers that will spend countless hours developing the systems so that they're closely replicated to the real thing. It's probably the only sim I've ever played that goes into the level of detail on an aircraft, and with the variety of aircraft as well that can be played both single player and multiplayer, including multi-seat aircraft, which means you can fly with human co-pilots such as the Apache and the F-14 as examples. So how do you learn these things? Well, that is quite an interesting question. Largely depends on how much time you have and also how frequently you fly. So I suppose it's like anybody, if you've ever actually picked up a pretty technical skill set that you've learnt and you've got good at, and then you go and park it for a while and you come back, you're always going to have skill fade and you're going to be rusty. So the thing I find with DCS, and I have a lot of aircraft, and just to put an example, if I go to the training tab, which is where I highly recommend you start with, you'll see I have a lot of aircraft here, and these are generally, most of them are payware except for these three here. The rest of all I've paid for, and that one there. But it takes some time. My first ever module I bought was the A10, and I went through all of these lessons when I first bought it. I think right up to about halfway through it before I realised I have to start again and relearn it all over again because I had left it too long to go through the training. Now again, it depends on your situation in terms of how much time you've got. It depends on what sort of aircraft you're interested in, and also how often you are willing to keep playing the aircraft, whether it's from a cold start being completely dead on the deck right through to hot starts being when you boot into the sim, it's already running, systems already on and activated, and you're ready to take off and fly and drop bombs, or if you're a complete heathen and you want to play arcade mode where you basically just pull the trigger and something fires, which I've never played in a sim, and I highly recommend not playing that. And if you want to play that, go play War Thunder or something else, because that's blasphemy. So do take your time on these lessons. They're a great way to learn, and you can, like I say, each aircraft that comes from payware, I'd say generally has your lessons already to go here, and you can go through them one by one if you like. Now, what I find when I get into the training on a new aircraft is I'll generally start off with the first, say, 3. I'll then practice it, I'll go away, get really good at it, and then I might start a few other things. But by the time I've got through to learning how to start her up, learning how to taxi takeoff, do some nav stuff, which I don't really focus too much on because you can kind of cheat on this, and I'll explain why. Right through to getting into the weapon systems. I won't generally go back to this unless I have significant issues. I might do some YouTubing, I might read a couple of manuals and whatnot just to figure it out before I get really stuck, and then I'll come back and do one of these lessons. It's not something you can just pick up, go through the whole lot in one hit, and then you're good to go. It's definitely going to take time. And some of them have very quick lessons, super quick lessons in fact, that you're basically like, that didn't teach me enough. And also you'll find in some paid modules there was a huge jump between the lessons. It's kind of like expected you to go away, read the manual, and then come back in. And if you're anything like me, that takes too much time. You've got other things to do in your life, so why read a menu when you've got these training missions that should teach you everything. So I just fill in the gaps with YouTube or playing it around, button mashing, clicking a whole lot of stuff, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. So takeaway here is, in your training systems and your training screens, learn your cold aircraft startup is probably one of the biggest points I'd say, and actually learn how to do it, because startup is particularly important when you're in multiplayer mode, and people have positions where you'll start cold and dark. So remember, cold and dark is when it's nice and everything's off and you've got to boot it into power. Hot start is when it's purely power on, and air starts, so obviously starting in the air. Some missions will have air starts because of just the nature of this situation. I personally hate air starts and I hate hot starts because I like to know where my aircraft is and in what state, and if I haven't turned something on, then I don't know if it's on or off, and I don't have time to play around with that. So that's how I work on those things. So yeah, training is how you would start it. Now that's your training side. If we look at some of the other stuff here, you've got things like Cyclopedia, which I be blatantly honest with you, never been in there, but as you can see, it lets you just look at some different aircraft in the game and assets that come with it. If you're interested in that sort of stuff, go for it. It shows you the in-game model. Some of them are particularly high fidelity models, and others not so much, so just of interest. Apart from that, we'll talk a little bit about multiplayer when we get to it. Talked about missions. The next video I'll go into a cold start from a F-18, just to give you a demonstration of what that looks like.